And welcome back to the Midday Show. I'm Jeff Everett. He is Mark Messina. Commissioners meeting today. We're going to touch on Big Daddy Death, which was, I'm going to throw you under the bus, which was 100% your choice of title. But a really interesting story about the largest family. The father recently died, so we thought we would touch on that. And then we're bringing on John Mackey's back. He had a week at the beach. He's coming back for Quizzo. Maybe not the most important question today, but I'll ask it anyway. How are you feeling?
I don't even know. That was a long commissioners meeting. I agree with. I don't even know what to say about him. We're going to ask. I don't know if we'll ask. I mean, it's Tony and Scott are the ones that Rick is. Tony and Scott are the ones who had the issue, and they are the ones that are in the firestorm and people calling for their resignations and calling them bigots and all these things. And we asked them to come on. They kind of talked about it. They had schedules, and we knew this meeting was coming, and we knew there would be protests and displays. So I know Scott just said at the end of the meeting, we'd love to have an open discussion with you. And I know he means that. I don't know if he wants to do it on the air. We will find out. We will reach out again. I would love to have them on. At this point, I would suspect that they want this to go away. So I'm not optimistic, but we'll see. We'll see. So I will say, as you and I talked during this, some of this, what they say, what Metzger say, 36 speakers.
Yes.
Some of them are very articulate and very good, and then some of them get up there and they needed help. And if they could have picked a greatest hits album, the meeting would have been a lot better. And I know that's not how it's supposed to work.
Sure.
Like, people are supposed to have their voice, but some people make their points a lot better than others. It makes it's hard when you can't ask questions, because that's where if you just go up and make a speech and somebody else goes up and make a speech and then at the end the commissioners make their speech and defend, it's much more engaging when there's a back and forth, and in the interview process there needs to be tough questions asked, and that answers need to be given, especially from our elected officials. And the way this process went today, there was an ability for people to publicly speak, but there was no ability for people to directly question the elected officials and get an answer to their question. So that limits the process.
The analogy that I had used to you, and I think you had agreed with me, not that it should have been a court hearing or that it needs to be a court hearing. I'm not trying to insinuate anything, but there's a reason that hearings are done the way they are, right? So there's the defense calls up who they need to call, and the prosecution, and there's an order. And the reason is just because then there's a rhythm and there's a flow to it, and you're able to piece things together and ask questions in an order in which you can kind of really get somewhere with the dialogue. And to your point, that was my first time watching from start to finish a full commissioners meeting or anything necessarily like that. And it is hard because it's just these 5-minute bursts of just a thought, and there's no real questioning behind it. There's no able to really get in depth to it, because to your point, there are people that are phenomenal. Like, there are people up there who are great speakers, and they're very poignant, and they have very specific points that lend themselves to deeper conversation, but you don't really get to dive into it all. And vice versa. There were things said by people that I would have loved to have heard the commissioners respond to it. Like, I would have loved to have seen what was their response. How would they answer that? How would they defend themselves? So to your point, it's not the greatest. I don't want to sit here and, the format does not lend itself to actual discussion or not that they're going to solve everything, but it just doesn't lend itself to real conversation.
Yes. And it's okay. This is one of the aspects where we've let people have their moment, and they got to stand at the podium and they got to vent and get it off their chest. But when you need to have discussion, and there was 2.5 hours of speeches, but there was no discussion, and you don't get anywhere with that.
No, so here's the one positive, and I was going to say this to you at one point, but we were kind of intently listening, and I didn't want to interrupt our train of thoughts. I was impressed at how many people were able to come up to the microphone, and it wasn't necessarily yelling, it wasn't screaming. It was people that had very valid points and were making them in a tone and in a way that was more like a discussion. And that, because originally, like, my mindset is like, this is just going to be 3 hours of people just
a poop show.
Just, well, not necessarily that there wouldn't be valid points. I just thought that they would be made like screaming and just vulgar. And to both sides' credits, there were people who were able to walk up to the microphone and kind of gracefully, whether you agreed or disagreed with them, gracefully kind of make their point. Now, again, like you said, there were some that it was brutal, like it was a task to necessarily get through it. But I was pleasantly surprised at how many people were able to kind of talk with a tone and try to make it sound like a discussion.
More speakers were good than were not good.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I agree with that 100%. And then the hardest part is at the end of it, and you kind of hinted at this. I thought the hardest part is the commissioner speaking at the end, because it's not necessarily the way you want to cap it. Like, personally, I thought, and again, I'm not sitting here saying I know how to fix the format or anything like that. I thought that it was interesting that there's 3 hours of discussion about this one topic. But then at the end, it felt like we weren't talking about that topic.
Oh, no, they went all over.
And so that also, part of that is probably just personal choices from the speakers, but also, like, it goes back to the format of, like, it just doesn't lend itself to really having a resolution or a finalization to the topic at hand or what's being discussed.
Well, and I think too, so I think this is what we'll do. We'll reach out again.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can get a date. If not, we will pick a day. I mean, here's the novel concept of it. I don't want to start going into my thoughts. Where's the child psychologist? Like, don't give me some 65-year-old grandmother who goes up and tells you what her kids need. Like, there is no one in that room that's trained. No, now maybe one of the speakers was. I didn't really pay attention to all the speakers. Like, that is the issue. Scott and Tony are not versed. They have no academic background in this. So for them to say this is inappropriate for kids, like, the first time I heard that, I thought, I don't know what's appropriate for kids. I have a math degree. So you know what I did? What would you do? A Google search.
Sure.
And in 4 minutes, I'm reading an article from the Los Angeles Children's Hospital. And I'm guessing that the Los Angeles I have 3 kids of my own. I'm almost 50 years old. They're all teenagers now. But who knows more about this? Me or the Children's Hospital of LA? So and those are the aspects that, so as we have all the constituents that come up and say, this isn't appropriate for our kids. What's your basis for saying that? And just because you think it, if you get enough people to go in a room and say the world is flat, it still doesn't make it flat. So, like, let's talk to people who know, and let's talk to people who have a background in this. And those are the things. So again, we're going to ask Tony and Scott to come on. I hope they do. I hope one of them does. I mean, they don't need to both come on. I would love to talk to one or both or either or whatever, but it is, even if they want to let the topic die, it's a fascinating topic for society, and we will find a child psychologist who will come on and discuss the pros and cons, because just like everything else in life, I'm sure there are pros and cons.
Sure. I had hinted at you before the show. I said, like, that was a haul, right? Like, to get through those 3 hours and to get to here, like, nothing against anybody who spoke today, and not to, like, belittle the topic, because the topic matters, but it was a haul to get through those 3 hours. But the point I would make, and I think the one you're making as well, is, like, I am significantly smarter 4 or 5 days removed from this than what I was beforehand. Like, I know more. No, like, I
thought you were going at the people in the crowd. I thought you were.
No.
I was like, wow, I didn't see this coming. But okay, now I'm with you.
No, but I am significantly more educated on the topic, and just my own curiosities and, like, digging into it. And like you said, like, the first thing you did, like, Google search Children's Hospital comes up. Like, I have learned so much in the last 5 days that it does, like, good's coming out of it. Like, it may not always feel like that when we're looking at topics like that, but like there are people who really have had to consider things in the last 4 or 5 days that they would not have otherwise.
And this is now we'll go on. We'll see if they come on, and if they come on, if not, and we'll find people. We'll continue the conversation. But for we had a lot of people watching, lots of people tuned in. So yeah. So we'll go on to a more. Well, this is about death, but it's more lighthearted story. So.
Sure. This is, you picked the title Big Daddy Death, which I still want you to kind of explain to me. The head of the world's biggest family died at the age of 76. Do you want me to give you the numbers before you?
Yeah, go ahead. Give the numbers.
So this is unbelievable. He was the world's largest family in India. The father died. He had 38 wives. He had 89 children. This is according to a tweet. The chief minister of Mizoram, the northeastern Indian state where he lived. So that's where the numbers are coming from the actual state in which he lived. The patriarch belonged to a Christian tribal sect that promotes polygamy as God's will. So this is, the world's largest father. This is a joke I say to my girlfriend all the time. I can barely handle one girlfriend. I can't imagine, like, I have a girlfriend and a dog, and my mind spins every day. I am a train wreck constantly. So I cannot even begin to wrap my head around this.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I used to work for a guy, and I was in my 20s. I was single. He comes into the office, and one day he wasn't even mad. He was just, you could tell he was emotionally spent.
Sure.
And he goes, I'll tell you, these guys that cheat on their wives, I don't get it. He goes, having one woman in your life is tough enough. Why they would want more is beyond me. And he was an idiot, but it was really funny. And because just what you're saying, like but here are my thoughts on this. I read this story and I chuckled. Not because he died. Big Daddy Death. He died, and he's the biggest daddy of the world, apparently.
I guess.
Well, I'm sure there's rock stars that have more than 89 kids, but they didn't have. How many DMX have?
Quite a few.
He had a bunch. He didn't have 38 wives.
Doesn't Phillip Rivers have like 11 kids, 12 kids, something like that?
All the same wife, though.
Right.
DMX
but this isn't about number of wives.
Well,
this is about just in general.
So the funny part of this story that I read is, as you said, it's whatever religion they're in that promotes polygamy. But he got married first at 17. Yes. His best year or his worst year, depending on how you want to do it, he married 10 different chicks in 1 year. But he says,
I love his worst year. I just caught on to what
he says. He never wanted to get married, but this was God's will. So no matter how devout you are in whatever religion you are, if you never want to get married, but supposedly God keeps, isn't there a point that you're like, another one? Like, really? There's already 30 of them. But I thought of this point too, because when I first heard this, I was like, I can tell you one physical characteristic of this guy.
Okay.
He is stone deaf, because there's no way he can listen to 38. But let's flip it to the other side. Like, these people had to be nice to him, because he's like, listen, if you're chirping at me, if you're mean to me, I got 37 others just waiting in line.
I guess.
So,
it's possible. That's one way. So there's a lot of, so many different ways to go on this. I always joke, I was one of two. I have a sister.
But your parents love more.
Correct. But my mom was one of 5. My dad was one of 3. And I joke all the time, they used to get my name wrong all the time, because my dad had a brother. So,
you had no brothers.
No, right.
There was one boy.
Right. But my mom had a twin brother. My mom had 3 brothers. My dad had a brother. I was constantly being called Marty, Phil, Jim, or Dutch, Dan all the time. So and I was one of 1. So I can't even imagine. There's just no way you remember everybody's name. There's no chance.
Well, it would be hard.
It would be impossible.
No, and it's not impossible. When you were in high school, Well, Blossburg, do you even have 89 kids in the Blossburg High School? When you
all grades combined,
you could walk down. I graduated with 175 kids.
Sure.
I knew all 175 names.
But they didn't all look like you or have resemblances. That's the difference.
That's fair. That's a valid point.
That's the difference in that. Like you could walk down the high school hall and see a variety of faces. And
well, I'll tell you something interesting is I mean, the guy passed away, and you know, we're not making light of that, but everything else of the situation is make light.
It's everything else is fascinating about it.
But one of the aspects to take a world view of this, I read somewhere or I saw a documentary or something, but this is one of the reasons that the polygamy and the people having multiple wives is one of the reasons that parts of like the Middle East where the men are so fanatical and so militant and willing to fly planes into buildings and willing to do all these things, because they're not married, because the one rich guy has 15 wives. So just by the math of it, there aren't enough women around. Yes. So these guys have nothing else in their lives that they're attached to, and they have no prospects for it. So it allows the fanaticism, because the world would be different.
So one of them going along with that is like high suicide rates in certain Asian cultures. And it is believed that part of the reason for that is what you're hinting at. Like there are so many less available women than there are single men, that men just can't find love, they can't find marriage, things like that. And that has been one of the things that psychologists and people have looked into for the suicide rate in Asian culture. So yes, like to your
I didn't even know that was a high suit, but it makes sense when you think about it. It makes perfect sense.
And part of it is, and I mean, it's not the same in every culture. Right. It's not the same in every country. But it is like there are certain aspects, certain ones where that is the case. Like I don't want to say here nothing's 100%, but that is one of the reasons.
Well, and the reason this became a story is apparently they became a tourist attraction. That while people were in India, like they went to see this family. I guess it was like a big dormitory that they all kind of lived in together, and it was just.
Yeah, see, that's the part that the living together and just functioning, because it like. In certain ones, like there's documentaries out there where you can there's polygamy documentaries, and you can see like how the different families suffice, and like one wife's over here and the other one's here and the family's there. But to have a functioning family of almost 40 wives, and like to kind of be like, I don't want to call it a compound, but to be like in the same, I don't know. Like we were talking about the FBI thing the other day, and how like the timing of it all and the organization and the orchestration. Like this would just have to be off the charts.
I want to see like a bachelorette version, or it would be a bachelor version with all these. There's no way they all get along. There's no way.
There has to be a competitive side to it, I would assume. I don't know that, but just thinking out loud. You would think just even think about how competitive you are like with your own siblings. Think about how competitive you are just with your friends, like just on day-to-day things. Like imagine 37 people all fighting for the attention of one. Now, maybe it falls under their religious sect, and maybe there's like this idea of like patience is a virtue, and like I don't know, but I mean still the competitive side.
He has his top 5 list.
Yeah, we always talk about
Emma Stone's not on it, obviously, because she's not an A-lister.
He doesn't even need Emma Stone.
He doesn't need.
doesn't need her.
And some of us, I learned not to compete with my siblings because it didn't work out.
It's a sore subject.
It was nice.
Go ahead and thank Weis Markets.
Thank you to Weis Markets for sponsoring the Midday show. And thank you to everyone for sticking around that are here. And I know a lot of you watch it on delay after work and stuff like that, but lots of you watch us during your work or your lunch hour or whatever. And but because of the commissioners meeting, because it was so well attended, it was such a hot button topic, and there were so many people viewing it on our site, we were here at 11:30 and we were planning and ready to go on. And then we were like, it wasn't like we figured out how to do it bandwidth wise. It was just like, listen, this is what people are watching, so we'll just wait. So thank you for who stuck around or who check us out at a time that you're not used to checking us out. And thank you to Weis Markets for being there with us every day.
Yeah. Thank you to Eat and Run Catering. Thank you to Moon and Raven. And also thank you to the break room if you need to blow off some steam. In order to have a chance to win, go to the Midday Show Facebook group, join us, and you're automatically entered to have a chance to have your name drawn and have the wheel spun for you. Today's random winner from the Facebook group is Wendy Reader. Wendy Reader.
You know, if God had a sense of humor,
yeah,
the winner would have been Scott Metzger today.
Yes.
If that would have been, because I think he's in our group.
I believe he is, yes.
I think he's in our group.
I believe he's a member of our group.
If not that God controls the algorithms, but you know.
No, I got you.
Mean,
all right, let's give Wendy a spin.
All right. Wendy, spin. Yesterday we had a winner. Oh, congratulations to that. Did I say yesterday the Atlanta Hawks were going to win, or did I not mention that?
You didn't mention
because
that.
I felt it.
You felt it? You should have mentioned it then.
It was
doesn't count.
They were down 2-1 at home. They needed it. And they
doesn't
won.
Count.
They were down 18 in the second quarter.
Yep.
You know who else just won? Wendy Reader, Moon and Raven.
Ooh,
God,
I'm
good.
Raven.
I'm good.
That was legit.
I am like Trey. What's his last name?
Trey Young.
Trey Young.
I mean, real quick. It is nuts. We had in the first round. You had said to me, like, who are the teams that I said, listen, like, if the Suns get through and now they're the only team waiting in the semifinals, right? Everyone else is still playing.
Because they won.
And I said the other one, like the Hawks, like there's too many good teams to go through. But if Philly gets a little injured, it's 2-2. Brooklyn's injured. Like, it is nuts. It's pretty crazy.
Well, at first, and we'll get to John here in a second. I know sometimes people don't like when we go to sports talk. I told you before at the beginning, I was like, but the Atlanta Hawks don't ever win. And that's kind of an NBA thing. They just don't ever win.
Right.
So there are teams. And you're like, listen, they got 10 players who can play.
Yep.
And you said they shoot the crap out of it.
Yes.
Well, I will tell you this. They shoot the frequency out of it because they just come down and jack.
Yeah.
They, with no conscience, with no, like, if you're in rhythm and you're outside the arc, it's going up. It doesn't care who you are.
They are the definition of you miss every shot you don't take.
They are not. Nobody ever comes to the bench and tells them, hey, that was a bad shot.
No,
you can get it up.
They don't need to. Bear with me here. Let's try to bring John on. John, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Yes, we're good.
Nice.
It's happening.
How are we, guys?
We're all right.
We're good.
We're having a day.
What did I miss last week? Besides the trash.
Mark actually quizzed me last week, and he had some really good questions. I wasn't awful, but I wasn't good.
I went with kind of things that Jeff would like, the history of Blossburg, things
Why
like
is
that.
the river orange?
Yeah,
things like that.
White basketball players 5'10" and under, things like that he's really in tune with.
I did hear that my commitment to the show was questioned.
Yes,
it was.
We questioned lots of things about you when you weren't here. I hope you didn't watch it because it will, whatever. Where did you were at the beach?
We were at the beach. And in my defense, I would say it's the opposite. I'm very committed to the show. I knew that the house we were at didn't have a really good internet connection. I also knew that there was about 27 people that were going to be there. And at noon, 12:30, many of them would be in varying degrees of drunkenness, and interruption could have definitely happened. So I felt like it was the best decision to not come on because I want to give you guys my full.
Not that it's any of my business. Of the 27 people in the house, how many of them are you married to, and how many of them are your kids?
Married to 1, 2 kids, so lots of.
God, you are so boring.
Yeah.
You would never fit in northern India. Let me tell you.
No, or Utah.
All right, hit us with it, John.
Right. So here we go. I got 5 new questions for you. Let's go with number 1, movie category. What is the name of the monsters in the movie Tremors? There are some monsters in the movie Tremors. What are their names?
Have you seen Tremors?
I have not. I hope
You've never seen Tremors.
I've never seen Tremors.
Right.
Hold on. Is Kevin Bacon in it?
Kevin Bacon is in it.
All right. I know that. That's the extent of my Tremors knowledge.
Okay. I hated scary movies growing up. I always have a story when I know the answer to something. I hated scary movies growing up. However, for whatever reason, Tremors was like one of those old USA TNT, like it was always on for a while. And growing up, it was one of the only like scary movies. I have to put that like in quotations. One of the only scary movies that I like wasn't scared of. Like it was almost like they were too fake. Like the worms almost like weren't real enough to like really be intimidated by. I'm pretty sure that they were called graboids, or I think it was graboids. Is what they like. That was like the term they referred to them as.
I'm all with you, buddy.
I'm pretty sure it's graboids.
You would be correct. It's graboids.
That one's in my like old school movie. It's one of the only scary movies I like sat through as a kid.
Way to go, Jeff. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
can't believe you've never watched it.
Never seen it.
It's a great movie. All right, question number 2. If you completely destroy a building, you have done what to it? I can give you a hint here if you want it. I have a hint queued up if you want it. But if you completely destroy a building, you have done what to it?
My immediate guess is demolish.
That's the simple answer, right? Like that's like he always tells us like not to talk ourselves out
Not
of it.
to overthink.
I mean, the simple one is demolish.
Because the companies, if you need something torn down, it's a demolition company, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, demolish is the simple answer. The only other word that came to mind for me was like razzing.
Oh,
That's the only other one that I've seen like before. But I don't know if that means to completely tear
It means
down.
to take it to the ground. Oh, if you completely destroy, is that's where it's. So
see, to me, demolish means, well, you're saying.
I thought raise meant just take
razzing?
it to the ground.
Is it raising?
I think
or
it's
razzing?
raise.
Okay, because I used to see it
because it kind of means the opposite. Like usually you raise, and when you raise a building.
Okay. Because I used to see it on like pricing and like invoices for buildings.
I could go either one, buddy.
Do you want to
like it's a demolition crew? Isn't it Steinbacher Demolition? Isn't that like a local? When you need a building torn down, I thought they were a local company that.
Probably.
I could go yeah. Can we ask a clue? You hit.
Will the hint give it away if we ask for the hint?
Maybe.
Okay.
All right. When you completely destroy a building, you've done what to destroy? Just goes with demolition. I like raise.
See, demolish to me, if you completely destroy, I think I wrote destroy. If you completely destroy a building, demolish to me means like you just knock it over.
And like in a demolition derby, the cars are demolished, but they're not completely destroyed.
Okay, so let's go with that. Let's go with razzing.
I like raise.
Is it raising or razzing?
I think it's raise, but I don't know.
Okay.
But we're going with raise.
Okay, Mark, you are correct. It is pronounced raised. R-A-Z-E-D. Raised. Yes. Good job.
Nice. That was good.
You pulled that one because we were going demolish, and then you saved us on that one. Well, we were headed down a wrong path, and you.
It's funny because like when I used to have like when I'd have to look over paperwork of the invoices like for the diners and stuff, there was a very clear distinction like pricing it out, and so like the wording really mattered. So I remember like on those things it would always have like a different cost for raising or razzing. Like it was always a separate.
In case you were just taking the diner to the ground.
Yeah.
All right. 2 for 2, Jeff. You're on fire. You are too young.
Number three. What footage was shown to a national TV audience for the first time on March 6th, 1975, 11 years after it was filmed? What footage was shown to a national TV audience for the first time on March 6th, 1975, 11 years after it was filmed?
This is a you.
Then this is the no. So it was filmed in all right.
It's filmed in 1964.
What the heck happened in Kennedy? Obviously got shot. Not in 64.
When did
Johnson
Kennedy get shot?
62, 63. It was either 62 or 63. Would it have been something with Vietnam? What footage was shown to a national TV audience?
Back up. Kennedy was 62 or 63? Because that's like eerily close to being correct.
It wasn't. He was not 64.
Okay.
Kennedy was not shot in 64.
You get what I'm saying, though. Like, that's a pretty big coincidence.
What footage was shown to a national TV audience for the first time.
When was the moon landing?
69.
But that was live, right?
Yeah, they had that. What could have happened in 64?
Something with no, it would have been too late after. I'm not sure. This one's stumped me.
Now you've got me questioning myself because I think Kennedy never won re-election, did he?
Well, that I don't know. But the point I'm making, like, I don't know the exact timing. But if you're telling me it's 62 or 63, like...
You're saying if we don't have a better guess to go with the Zapruder film, and I get
yes.
that. But didn't Johnson finish out and then win re-election and then...
I'm not
because
sure.
Johnson won an election and then Nixon came in and, yeah, there's no way.
I don't know. Like, you're going to have to make a guess.
All right. Yeah, I got to come up with a guess. 64. What happened in 64 that we didn't see footage of for 11 years? I have no good guess. We're going to say the Zapruder film, even though that's wrong.
Well, here it is, guys. I'm a little embarrassed. I took a week off, and we had a typo here. So you are right. It is the Zapruder film. Kennedy was shot in 63, so my math and my numbers were a little off. So you guys got it right.
All right.
Very rare mistake
Nice job.
in the question.
Yeah,
So you guys are
bonus points.
You bonus points
Well, hold on. He was shot in November
of 1963.
So 11 years after that is November of 74. So
Right.
it was 11 years plus a couple months. So you weren't really that wrong.
That's
Yeah.
true.
It was between 11 and 12.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, good.
Going on to question number 4. And that question is, what rap group released the 1991 song Pap Goes the Weasel?
Dude,
And I also have a hint for this question.
I know it.
You know it?
Oh, yeah, I know Pap Goes the Weasel.
Oh, well then hold on. Give me 10 seconds to think. While I'm thinking about it, since Jeff knows, why don't you give us your plugs where you're at this week?
Okay, yeah, it's what's today's Tuesday. I'm at the Bullfrog tonight at 8:30. Tomorrow, we are at Kimball's. We are at the Brickyard, and we were at Rusty Rail in Mifflinburg. Thursday's the Town Tavern in Lewisburg, and then when we come back around to the start of next week, we'll start off at Boom City in Williamsport.
Awesome.
Wait, you're in Boom City on Mondays now?
Monday's Boom City. Yep.
Sweet. Any guesses?
I should know this. This is a rap group with white guys and black guys, wasn't it? I can see the video.
The video was in black and white, if that's what you're referring to.
Mark, would you like my hint?
White guys.
The album was weird because the album was like something of dialect. It was like the Dia something of dialect was the album name.
Okay.
And I vaguely remember.
As soon as you say it, I'm going to know it.
Yeah,
but
it was Third Base.
Yes.
Yes, but BASS, not BASE.
Okay.
Do you remember the album name, Mackie? Do you have it there? It was like something. It was like Dia something of dialects or something. I'm blanking now.
All I know is we're 4 for 4.
Yeah. And there's something tells me you guys are going 5 for 5 today, but we'll see with this last question.
Before we go, Jeff and I were joking about this. We have gotten so lucky as a team with like the ability. There are very few of these that we're both all over. That like the fact that one of us really knows and one of us has no idea. We are an incredible. We would be like beach volleyball gold medalists, except not nearly as attractive as most of the people that play beach volleyball.
You guys are good. I don't know what to tell you.
All right. What's up?
All right. Last question. Question number 5. What retired Major League Baseball player entered a dog named Rocky at this year's Westminster Dog Show?
My mom just watched that.
Do you know it?
No.
Oh, I do not know this. I have not seen anything about the Westminster Dog Show. How long was that? Just like this past week or something?
She just watched it 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
I have no idea. All I know is a little dog won it with kind of like, no offense to the dog, kind of like an ugly demeanor. like an ugly face. What was it called? Like a Portuguese or something like that?
The Pekingese named Wasabi. Yes.
Okay. That's like all I didn't even know a Major League Baseball player had entered a dog.
What retired Major League Baseball player? Can you give me a hint on the Major League Baseball player? Well, here, before he says, I would guess that it was someone from Philadelphia.
Because that's where it was?
Because that's where Rocky was.
Oh.
No, not that Rocky's not a very famous dog.
John Kruk.
Yeah, that's good. I'm good with Crucker.
Are we going?
No, we're not going. Crucker couldn't.
Chase Utley, Ryan Howard.
How about this? I can give you a hint. This guy did play in Pennsylvania.
So he's a pirate. Andy Van Slyke. That's it. That's what I got.
Jeff, what do you think?
I have no guesses on that.
Bobby Bonilla.
But you get one more. I need a final answer.
Jeff King.
Which one? Just pick one that you think it is.
I don't know. Whatever.
Guess.
I'm just guessing Pirates. Omar Moreno. Is he still alive?
Probably not.
Kent Tekulve, who was just at the Country Club a couple years ago for Little League tournaments. Very funny guy.
All right. Now you got to pick one.
Didn't Kent Tekulve play in the Phillies also? Or was he?
I think he did at the end. He was with the Pirates when they won. He was with the We Are Family Pirates that won. I
honestly have no idea.
I'm going to go with Jeff King.
Okay, that's the answer.
Yep.
All right. Well, you're wrong. You were so close with Bobby Bonilla. It was Barry Bonds.
Shut up.
Oh,
Yes.
No way.
Yep. Barry Bonds.
So Barry was there.
Barry was at the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show.
He was walking the dog on a leash around.
No, I don't think he was the owner of the dog. He was backstage. He was making sure it got groomed properly, but he was there. Barry Bonds was at the Westminster Dog Show.
That is fantastic. I had no idea.
I would pay to see Barry with the little pooper scooper following the dog around on the thing. That would be.
If we have time, I got some yes or no Barry Bonds questions for you. You guys are
I'm ready.
All right. Yes or no?
Did he marry a stripper? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that not the first one?
Career batting average over or under? Yes or no? 300. 300 career batting average. Yes.
It has to be over.
I'm going to say under only because you're asking.
So we got one yes over, one no under.
I think it has to be over.
All right, it's 298 career batting average.
Whatever.
Nailed it.
How about home runs? Do you guys know how many home runs he finished his career with?
Yeah, it was like 763 or something like that. In that ballpark.
762. Very close.
Okay.
Wow.
How about 3,000 hits? 3,000 hits, yes or no?
Nah, he didn't get there. He walked too much. They wouldn't pitch to him.
Under.
2935. You got it.
Yeah.
RBI over 2,000 career RBI?
Nah, he didn't get there either.
Under.
Jeff? Yeah, 1996, 1,996. How about stolen bases?
He had a lot. He had like, what's the over-under?
500.
I was going to say he's over 400. Did Barry get to 5? When he was young, he ran all the time. He had 500 plus doubles, but he didn't get 600 doubles.
I'm going to say under.
He had 400. I don't think he got to 500 either. I think he's 400 and something.
He had 512.
Wow.
Yeah.
So two things. It's amazing how close he was to those benchmarks, like either a little over or a little under.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, doesn't he hold some type of record for solo home runs? So it has something to do with nobody's hit more home runs with less people on base than Barry Bonds. It's some crazy stat like that.
I don't think he ever had a whole lot of RBIs each season. Yeah, he hit a lot of solo home runs.
I think it's some record. It has something to do with the least amount of runs batted in on home runs or most solo home runs, something like that.
Well, he hit 500 more than pretty much everybody else that played. Like for somebody to hit 250, that's a heck of a career. He hit 762.
So who wrote the questions last week while I was out?
I did.
Mark wrote them. Some good ones. They were based around like maps. Like I had to guess like areas. I had to guess like universities. It was good. It was all right.
What?
You did. You said what were the 2 universities?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
And
that
then I
was
had to
kinda
guess.
weird.
And then I had to guess the states.
I tried to come up with intellectual ones. Then I asked the typical Ryan Reynolds one because Jeff has a love affair with Ryan
That was
Reynolds.
some good. So we'll flip it over. We can flip it around here at some point this summer. We'll ask Mackie the question.
We can grill Mackie with questions.
Yeah.
Scary.
We'll flip it around one day.
Did you ever see this before I let you go? And I know we've lost our listeners by this point. There's a thing on YouTube about some guy that if Barry Bonds, one of the years that he was, the greatest thing ever, if he would have not swung the bat the entire season, he would have still finished in the top 10 in on-base percentage in the National League. And they did this. This wasn't just a quick calculate. They went through at bat by at bat, figured out foul balls. They looked at pitches and was like, that wasn't in the strike zone. They did it soup to nuts, which I don't even understand what that cliche means. I mean, I know what it means. I don't know where it derives from. But he would have finished top 10 in the National League in on-base percentage if he didn't swing.
It's crazy.
He was pretty good.
All right. Thanks, John.
And at one point, he was married to a stripper.
Thanks, Mark.
Just for whatever that's worth.
Appreciate it.
I don't think it lasted, but,
Right. Thank John.
Thank you, John. You want to give your plug again real quick? Where are you at?
Monday night, Boom City. Tuesday, Bullfrog. Wednesday, Kimball's, Brickyard, and Rusty Rail in Mifflinburg. Thursday, Town Tavern. Yeah, great to see you guys again. Good to be back.
Perfect.
Hey, we're glad that you didn't get, attacked by a jellyfish or anything like that.
Yeah, no, not much of an ocean guy. I was kind of sit on the beach, get my feet wet.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right.
There are a few things more overrated than the ocean.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Actually, Jerry
Thanks,
Seinfeld's he's got a great line about the ocean. He said the ocean's like an exclusive club, and the waves are the bouncers trying to kick you out.
That's pretty good. All right. Thanks. Appreciate it.
See you guys.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
Hey, we'll see you, man.
All right.
We have discussed that. You and I are on different. I don't get the beach. I don't. I can do it for a couple hours and then I'm done.
See, this is the funny part. I burn badly. I really burn. Love the beach. Love the beach.
I don't.
But I burn terribly, so it's brutal.
And you know what it is? There are people, I tell people this, and they're just shocked. And don't get me wrong, you give me 8 o'clock at night, walking along the beach while no one's there and the waves are crashing. The sound of the waves and all that stuff is great. But just to go lay on the beach while the sun is baking and you got sand all over you and there's all these people around, and I don't get it. I don't get it.
I'm with you. Real quick, the album name. Derelicts of Dialect. I could not.
Third base. That was. I would have thought about that. I can see the dude. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Barbara was on top of it when we were trying to guess the year. She knew it was 1963. The other suggestion she gave was the Beatles, which I'm trying to think. Would that just have been live footage?
No, weren't they?
Footage?
It would have had to be one specific performance because they did Ed Sullivan real early. That's how they broke.
Okay.
Or that's not how they broke, but their indoctrination to America was on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Okay. Not a bad guess. Lisa, a day without the Midday Show is hardly a day at all.
Amen.
Thank you, Lisa. Right? That might go on the back of the next shirt.
I agree.
That's pretty good. That or the other one that we can put on the back of the shirt is since no one's listening anymore.
Since no one's listening anymore.
Which is your favorite.
Tune into the Midday Show since no one's listening anymore.
Which is your favorite line to go with. Yeah, that was good. 4 for 5. It's a good showing. And we were close.
I can't believe I missed a baseball question, but that was, my mom watched it the other night, and she usually tells me trivia like that because she's a sports person, and she would have been, hey,
yeah,
Barry Bonds has a dog in this. But
yeah, the Barry Bonds, that would have been the last person I would have guessed. I never would have made it to Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
That would be another interesting one. Have you seen Rick Smits apparently? Remember Rick Smits, the center for the Pacers? Mm-hmm. He apparently now is a master video gamer, the arcade ones.
Okay.
The Donkey Kong and stuff like that. Apparently he's a professional
at 6'11".
Yes, apparently he's a professional arcade gamer. And then the other one is Sean Bradley, who's 7'6", played for the Sixers for a little while. He does, maybe it's dog shows. I got to look up real quick. Sean Bradley does something else, but it would be neat, like the secondary careers of like these famous athletes.
Didn't Drew Bledsoe? I thought he was like a winemaker now. I thought Drew Bledsoe owned a vineyard.
I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah, some of the guys have really neat, because we see the guys who go into broadcasting and coaching.
Yes.
But yeah, there are some very interesting second careers from some of these dudes.
The different things that people do. Do you remember Sean Bradley's nickname? Because this one's good, because it just came up when I looked it up.
Sean Bradley's nickname.
Yes.
Something. The Storm and Mormon?
The Storm and Mormon. There you go.
Is that what it was?
That's what it was.
Look at that.
That's impressive.
Look at that.
No, Sean Bradley ran for office.
Oh, did he really?
Yes, for the 44th district seat in Utah, House of Representatives.
And he lost?
He lost the election by a vote of 51% to 47%.
Sean Bradley lost an election in Utah.
Yes.
See, that's shocking to me.
He also just recently was in a terrible accident. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't know that.
He's a little, I don't want to say a little, he's paralyzed now. I don't think he's a full paraplegic, but he there's some medical condition there. He's not able to move as well.
I did not know that.
From a bike ride. But yeah, it's some of the stuff that professional athletes do afterwards is pretty neat, because you just assume they're in a booth or they're coaching somewhere, they're doing that. So it's always neat when you see somebody that's doing something outside of that realm, you know?
Yeah.
It's good. All right. Thank you guys for watching. This is weird. If you're joining with us today, most days we come on between 12 and 1. If you're free, feel free to join us. If not, you can watch the recap or the rerun later in the evening. Just look for the Midday Show on NorthcentralPa.com or NorthcentralPA on Facebook. So thank you to our sponsor, Weis Markets. Be sure to go there for all your grocery needs. And any words of wisdom before?
I got none. I'm out of wisdom. 4 for 5. You carried the wisdom today. The one question I got right, I didn't even think I was right.
The Tremors, you got to watch Tremors once. I'm not even saying it's a good movie, but yeah, just one time you have to watch Tremors, get it over with. You'll be better for it.
Oh, will I?
Yes, you will. Because it's the Kevin Bacon anthology. Like you have to watch.
You know, another movie, and this reminds me of, and I know it's a different thing. I've never seen the movie Holes.
Really?
Yeah.
That one's, especially with 3 kids, I'm shocked you never saw the movie.
Is that the one with, is there like little birds or owls, or is that different?
We might be talking about different movies.
No, Holes. No, I know what Holes is. I can't think. There was one with owls that were endangered, and I think Luke Wilson was in it. I have seen parts of that, but I've never seen Holes either.
All right, you'll have to tell me which one that is, because I'm not sure. The Luke Wilson one, I'm not sure which one that is. Shia LaBeouf was in like the kids like Holes movie for Disney, but it's a good movie.
We talked about this. Wasn't Shia LaBeouf in Peanut Butter Falcon?
Yes.
Did you see Peanut Butter Falcon?
Yes. Really
okay.
Good. Really good.
Really good. Okay.
Yes. All right. That's it. I'm Jeff Everett. He's Mark Messina. Thanks for watching the Midday Show on NorthcentralPA.
On a historic day when Jeff was way smarter than me.
There will be more.